What's up, Benfica Nation? Welcome to another edition. Back again, a couple hours later, an hour later. I don't know what it's been. I'm the Mister Agostinho. I'm here with you again as we continue to look at tonight's election. We have very little progress made since the last time I was on here talking to you. All right, very little progress made. Results are trickling through, but this is looking like we're sitting here. It looks like we're going to a runoff. Okay. It looks like we're going to a runoff. And if you are not a supporter of Rui Costa right now, you are crossing your fingers for a runoff because he is starting to gain and he's starting to open a lead here. And it's getting concerning for those of us on the other side. Okay. I'm going to try to be neutral, try to be fair here. I'm not going to lie. I'm starting to feel a bit disheartened here. I'm shocked. I am shocked at the number of people that are coming up or that are coming out. You know, the numbers are coming out and just the sheer number of people that have voted for Rui Costa and for Luis Felipe Vieira too in some locations. Newark, New Jersey. What is going on? Luis Felipe Vieira comes in second place in Newark, New Jersey, I guess. Let's go through some of the locations. Okay, I'm going to put them up on the screen for y'all. We're going to go through some of these locations now, and I'm going to show you. This is straight from the club's website, okay, so that we can see how some of the voting went. And this is here. This one is where I voted today, New Bedford. We're starting there, and 67 total people voted in the location where I voted, and this is disheartening to see. List F, this is Noronha Lopes. I am one of these 16. Some of you are as well because I've been talking to some of you. But a 16 combined for 192 votes. Okay, remember I talked about how each Sauciu has a certain amount of votes. Rui Costa comes into town. 40 people cast 756 votes for Rui Costa in New Bedford here in the United States. Just some more U.S. North American results, just because, you know, this is where a lot of you live. And let's see here. We're going to choose a region. We're going to choose outside of Europe. And let's see. Newark is now here. And I had talked about this. Newark, New Jersey. My boys, my girls, my region. What are we doing? A total of 131 people voted in Newark, which is probably the largest casa here in North America. We've got 51 people equaling 953 votes for Rui Costa in Newark. Noronha Lopes gets 28 voters to cast 456 votes, almost double, or almost half, I should say, of what Rui Costa has. And the most upsetting to me is this one. This listy, this is Luis Felipe Vieira. 33 of you senior citizens. Okay, I'm gonna try not to get too rude because this is democracy and we have to live with the results. 33 people totaling almost 600 votes for a president who stole from us. I don't get it. Okay, I know. I get that some people are, adverse to change, are adverse to, I don't know. I wish I knew. Okay, I wish I knew. I wish I could understand. Well, what's going on in Africa? Cidade da Praia, Cabo Verde. Okay, 13 people voted there. Not a whole lot, but again, 5 cast 133 votes for Rui Costa. 5 people cast 66 votes for João Noronha Lopes. That tells you just the weight of. You can tell Rui Costa's getting the old people because five people combined for 133 votes. Now, if you have 50 votes, 2 people make 100. So you assume that there's a 50 in there, a couple 20s, and a couple of the 10s and 3s. 3 people in Praia, Cabo Verde, combined for 80 votes for the former disgraced president of Sport Lisboa Benfica. This is not what I was I was not expecting this. I was expecting kind of the inverse of what we're having here. I was expecting Noronha Lopes to be around 40% and us pulling for a majority tonight and maybe even being behind a little, but not like this. Now, it does not look like Rui Costa is going to get to 50% tonight. It looks like we're going to a runoff in 2 weeks' time. Luanda, Angola. How we doing there? 208. I'm going to applaud that. 208 people showed up and cast votes in Luanda and Angola today. And again, Rui Costa wins. 90 people combining for 1,998 votes. Almost 2,000 votes from 90 voters. 76. See, here is the thing. 14 fewer voters, but they combined for 300 fewer votes. And it looks like my BTV stream went down, but the live stream is still going, so that's good. All right, my BTV stream's back up. Going back over here to this list, and Vieira gets 24 people to give him 492 votes here. Now, you might as well count Vieira's votes as Rui Costa's votes at this point, because in 2 weeks, that's where they're going. All right, all these other ones we already touched on. Let's see what's going on in Portugal. In Lisbon, we still have no votes. That's a lot of votes there. In Aveiro. All right, in Aveiro, Rui Costa wins again. 299 people combined for 5,246 votes. 749 total voters. Noronha Lopes gets 237 votes for 3,330. While Vieira's beating João Diogo Manteigas, and this is really maybe more upsetting than the fact that Rui Costa is beating João Noronha Lopes. Now, if you combine these two voter pools, if you combine Vieira and Rui Costa, and then you combine Noronha Lopes and Manteigas, Rui Costa still wins in the runoff. This is a little bit disheartening. I'm not going to lie. I was not expecting to be this concerned. Beja, I think I already read. No, I didn't. Beja has not reported yet. Braga has no reports yet. Bragança, in the Mirandela section of Bragança, 183 votes, voters total. Again, Rui Costa, list G, 87 votes for 87 voters combining for 1,671. Not as much of it looks like a younger crew in Mirandela, because these total votes are not equating to the same high number of votes. But here is Noronha with 47 voters, giving him 648 votes. Vieira again. I don't understand the Vieira part of it, guys. I don't understand. I was not expecting this. Castelo Branco still not reporting. Coimbra, nothing. Évora, nothing. Wait, let me go back to Coimbra again. There is a zone in Coimbra. Arangil, I read this one earlier. Okay. Let's go to Faro. And in Lagos, we have 524 total votantes, voters. And again, Rui Costa, cleaning house. Rui Costa's cleaning house. And here I am thinking all this time, all these podcasts, all the feedback I've had with everybody, I didn't see this support for Rui Costa anywhere. I should have heeded the warnings of a lot of you. I should have. I didn't see it. I didn't think this existed. Vieira, again here. Vieira, 76. Look at this. 76 voters gave him 1,712 votes, while 102 voters, voted for Noronha Lopes, but only can give him 1,978 votes. If Luis Felipe Vieira did not insert himself into this race, Rui Costa would have won the presidency tonight. He'd already be on stage right now accepting his. I think he'd easily be projected as the winner already. Maybe not, but it would be an absolute bloodbath. Also in Faro, we have Lole Quarteira. 397 people cast ballots here. And once again, it's Rui Costa cleaning house. 195 votantes, giving him 4,260 votes. Noronha comes in second with 80 people, giving him 1,599, while Vieira 74 votes. So you can just add to Rui Costa's, guys. Rui Costa is going to be reelected. It is starting to hit me. We have 4 more years of Rui Costa. In Guarda, 459 voters up there in Guarda. Rui Costa once again. 229 voters casting 4,746 votes for Rui Costa, doubling João Noronha Lopes' share with his 112 voters, giving him 2,141 votes. I'm going to officially be in the minority for the next 4 years, it looks like. I'm hopeful. I'm going to remain hopeful that there's a turnaround in the next 2 weeks and that the other candidates can get behind Noronha Lopes here, and maybe we can make a fight out of this in 2 weeks. But right now, it's not looking good. It's not looking good 2 weeks from now. Vila Nova de Foz Qua. Rui Costa, 37 people give him 634 votes. Noronha gets 200 votes from 22 people. And look at this. You want to know who supports Luis Felipe Vieira? Look at that. 5 people give him 180 votes. Those are all 50s and 20s. Up here you have Leash the Sea. This is Montegas with 14 people giving him 209 votes. What else do we got in Portugal? In Leiria, anything yet? Alcobaça has reported in Leiria. This has been at 741. It's Rui Costa again. 311 people for 8,151 points. Points of votes, excuse me. Noronha Lopes, 178 voters give him 3,604 votes. Is there a path for Noronha Lopes to come back and win this? I don't know. I'm really getting a little bit frustrated here. Let's see here. If anybody is watching, is still awake, wherever you are, maybe if you're in Australia and it's the middle of your afternoon, you're awake, and you got anything to say, feel free to drop it in the chat. I have my eyes on it. I missed some of the comments earlier. I apologize, but I'm looking at it now. Let's check Abala. Let's see what Abala has, if they have any updates. If they do, I'll put it up on the screen. I don't know if they have any latest updates. Let's see. Let's see here. The latest, nothing has changed. Okay, so it has not changed on Abala. I think I read this 6,960 voters, out of 85,000. With 28% of section. Okay, so 28 out of 108 locations have submitted. So 26% of locations have voted. However, only 8% of the votes have been counted in those 28% of locations. So maybe maybe it's a little premature to start crowning Rui Costa victorious. Maybe it's not. The lead could just continue to open up. We'll see what happens in Lisboa, obviously. What happens in the Porto district. Those 2 locations are crucial. It's a lot more regions in all of those districts as well. I know. Voting's been over for hours at this point. I mean, it has been over for 7 hours. and results are still coming through very, very slowly. It's hard not to I'm just coming to grips with what I think is going to be a win for Rui Costa right now. I can't say I'm not surprised because I'm surprised. Perhaps I shouldn't have been. You know, my old man told me this morning. He texted me this morning. He knew I was going to New Bedford to cast my vote. And my old man is not a Rui Costa guy. Okay, he's not one of those velhotes. Okay, my old man's a football man. He's a Benfiquista, but he's also very real. He's very much a realist. And he texted me and said, Rui Costa's going to win. Don't get your hopes up, basically. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Have you not seen the last month and a half of the season? And that's just for the people that only vote based on the football team. If you're watching the other sports, I mean, it's just as bad. Everything that's wrong in the football section is wrong in the basketball section, is wrong in the futsal section. It's wrong in the hockey. Volleyball has dropped off a little bit. The handball team is constantly behind our rivals. I'm not even going to get into some other, sections. If not for the women's sports at Benfica, we would have very few titles to celebrate each year. The ladies are the ones carrying the club right now. Rui Costa's won 21 of the 30 the 30 locations that have reported. This, I was not expecting this. I was expecting like a divide. I was expecting certain places him to win, I expected them to be kind of splitting the locations. It's not at all what's happening here. It's not at all what's happening. Santo Tirso is on the screen, and Santo Tirso went to Rui Costa. 205 people cast 3,000. This is I'm gonna put this up on my screen because this is what pisses me off. Okay, and I get why it's like this. This is what pisses me off, and it's never gonna change because the people that have the power to do this are not going to change it. But where is Santo Tirso? Santo Tirso. Well, let's look at Chaves. I already announced that Rui Costa won easily in Chaves. There it is. Santo Tirso is not in Vila Real. Viseu, I think. Nope, it's not here yet. Diana. Nope. I think that Thursday's night's debate had very little it had very little it had very little impact on the final result, okay? That's what it looks like because Rui Costa was not particularly good in that debate. Neither was Vieira. All right, here's Santo Tirso. And I want to point to this. Rui Costa, 233 votes, okay? Voters, I should say. This is not the same thing that was on my screen a minute ago, but 4,000 votes, okay? 70 votes less, but 70 voters less, I should say, for Noronha, but half as many total votes. This is never going to change because it will require all these people to give up their special powers. That's not going to happen. That goes against human nature. And I understand the reasons why this exists. I do. I understand why these people have as many votes as they do and what it protects the club from. But it's a detriment to the club at this point. Am I discriminating against older people who've been members longer? Maybe. But I don't understand what this president has done in the past 4 years in this mandate to earn this kind of support in this large of numbers from the people with the most valuable votes? Who is he protecting? What are they seeing that is so good that is saying we don't want to change anything? Oh, change is scary. Listen, I'm as bad as anybody about this. I am not a person that likes change in my life. I like to do things the same every day. Okay? I eat the same thing every day of my life, Monday through Friday. I change it up on the weekend because I go visit my parents and I visit my in-laws. I eat chicken thighs every day with asparagus. Okay? I follow a strict, I follow a semi-strict eating regimen. I I eat a certain way. I don't consume carbs. So it makes it easier to do that. I don't consume carbohydrates. I consume very little sugar. I eat mostly meat and vegetables. So I eat chicken thighs five days a week. I make them on Sunday and I eat them. And people, even my wife says, "Don't you get bored?" I said, "No, I like what I like and I want to do what I like." Same thing in football. I like what I like. I don't like to change things that are working. But at Benfica, things are not working. Things are not working. Rui Costa has, and I got messages today from my friends that are Sportingistas telling me they're hoping Rui Costa wins. Of course they are. Of course they're hoping Rui Costa wins. This has been the best run in Sporting's history since the five violinists. Since the five violins. We've seen Porto reborn this season. We've seen, again, Sporting win 3 out of 4 titles, 2 in a row. We're sitting at 0 points in the UEFA Champions League. We're sitting 4 point, well, for now, a point back in the league, but once Porto wins tomorrow, we'll be 4 points back again. Not to go to other sports, but I'm going to say it. Our women's team has 0 points in the Champions League. Our women's team lost the Super Cup. Our women's futsal team lost the Super Cup to Nuno Alvarez. Not to Sporting, to Nuno Alvarez. Our basketball team is 0-3 in the Champions League. Our teams are not doing well. They're not up to the standard that is Benfica. Now, I'm one when I analyze a game, it's one thing, okay? There is the micro and the macro. And when you are the coach or when you're watching one specific game and you're in the micro, I can find reasoning and I can find explanations for all kinds of things, okay? However, when I look at the overall body of work, when you look at a president or in other setups, it's an owner, for example. Whatever you're looking at, okay, whatever you're looking at, when you look at the macro, the bigger picture, there are things that need to be done by an organization that give its athletes and its coaches the chance to succeed. The way this team has been managed, the way this club, I'm not even going to say this team because what we've seen with the men's football that most of us watch has happened in the other sports as well. Okay, there's consistencies. Look at this offseason. Year after year, we let our best players leave. Rui Costa says we can't do anything about it. And listen, I understand to an extent there are certain players we can't do anything about. There are others that we can do something about. Nobody told him to sell Marcos Leonardo. Nobody told him to, sell Kerem Aktürkoğlu. Nobody told him to sell Orkun Kökçü. Oh, he had a row out with the coach. Guess what? The coach was gone a month later. You got rid of a midfielder. You got rid of a key part of an integral part of your team because he had a spat with the coach at the Club World Cup. And a month later, the coach is gone too. That's bad management. That's poor management at that point. That is poor management. It is unacceptable what this team has been these past 2 seasons, especially. What has Rui Costa given us in the past 4 years? He gave us 5.5 good months under Roger Schmidt. Now, not all of the footballing is his fault. He's going to say he gave he spent all this money on teams. Has he spent it well? Does anyone think that Rui Costa's spending has been done well? Now, I'm not tweeting a lot of this stuff out. If you see me tweeting and retweeting, I'm being more neutral because Twitter can become a cesspool. For right now, the Rui Costa fans have come out of the woodwork, and suddenly a bunch of these accounts are celebrating, what he's doing right now. And I don't understand it, to be honest. They've become offended by the other candidates for some reason. I keep saying that I keep seeing, excuse me, that somehow Noronha and Mantegas are opportunistas. They're opportunists. I don't see that. I think they are people who, both of them, who genuinely want to make a meaningful change in this club. Do you guys realize we have a president managing a multi-100 million plus euro per year budget who is a former footballer? A great footballer he was, but he was a footballer. The reason he's president and the reason he's winning tonight is the support of the oldest of the membership, the ones with 50 votes. It's clear as day when you look at the details in the numbers. Why does he have their support? Only because Vieira brought him in, because he was Vieira's guy. Why Vieira's even running against him tonight makes no sense to me, because this thing would be over. This thing would be over if Vieira had stayed good enough away. But these people blindly are behind Rui Costa. What, because he was a good player? Because he cried when he scored a goal against Benfica? I don't know if I'm wrong here. I'm starting to think I'm the one that's crazy because I didn't see this coming. Not in this degree. I expected a runoff, but I expected this to be like 35 to 34%, 38 to 32 in that numbers, with the other candidates taking more. It quickly became a 2-horse race with Vieira leading the rest of the crew in chasing. Absolutely nobody believed in Martin Mayer or Christophe Carvalho, obviously. And I'm wondering if people went to Rui Costa out of lack of a candidate. I wonder how many people didn't see what they wanted from any of these opposition candidates and just defaulted back to Rui Costa. I don't know. I don't know, guys, but I don't think we're going to have a final word tonight. I don't think it's going to be over tonight. I think we are going to have a runoff, but I also think when I wake up in the morning that they're not going to be done counting votes. Let's see a few other sections. All right. I'll put it up on the screen. I got a few more for y'all. Let's take a look here at Evora. Elvas, excuse me, Elvas. Oh, Elvis, oh, Elvis. Yep, it's getting late. 280 votes in Elvis, and a win for João Noronha Lopes in Elvis. 122 people combining for 2,121 votes, while 88 people gave 1,729 votes to Rui Costa. 38 voters gave 753 votes to Luis Felipe Vieira. And BTV is going to another break. Let's see here. And then here's our guy Montegas. 22 people gave him 253 votes. That's Elvis. Let's take a look. What do we have in Santarém? Nothing yet in Santarém. Setúbal. Okay, in Grandula. Grandula Villa Morena. 441 in Grandula. And damn it, Rui Costa is your winner in Grandula. 205 people, giving 4,903 votes to the incumbent president. Noronha comes in second here with 116 people, giving him 2,283 votes, while Luis Felipe Vieira. I never imagined in a million years Vieira would be number 3 on this list. I think this is the most difficult thing to process right now. This is the most in Quinta do Conde, okay, also in the Setúbal region, 825, and Rui Costa wins in Quinta do Conde as well. Another 6,248 total votes, doubling Noronha Lopes, even though it's just over 100 people more. It equals 3,000 more votes. I don't like this format. I didn't like it 4 years ago. I didn't like it 8 years ago, and I don't like it tonight, guys. I don't like it. But in the city of Setúbal, 891. No, this is the same. No, here we have 351 people giving Rui Costa 6,566 votes. Noronha, 246 people give him 4,326 votes. I'm sure there's some out there saying Chora Bebé. I've already seen it online. All right, how about Viana do Castelo? Nothing yet. Viseu, nothing. Ilhas. Let's look at the islands. No, we don't have any news from the islands yet. How about in Europe? Anything new in Europe? We looked at Berlin already. Stuttgart, we did Hamburg. We've done all these. Okay, we have looked at all of these tonight already. Outside of Europe, still no word from California. Nothing from Santa Barbara yet. Okay. Anything in Lisboa? Not a thing yet in Lisboa. Beja, nothing. Aveiro, still just the city. How about in Leiria? Let's see here. Still just Alcobaça. Nothing from the city of Leiria. Nothing from Caldas da Rainha yet. Vila Real, is it just Chaves? It's just Chaves. All right. Well, I mean, let's see if Abala has an updated tally right now on Abala. Let's see what we got here. All right. If they've updated it at all. It almost seems like they've stopped counting. Still, the last update was at 1:30 a.m. Portuguese time. It's currently 4:30 a.m. in Portugal. Oh, there is an update here, though. Okay. Okay, I will share this on the screen. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but let's go to the screen share here. From Ebola. Okay, it says in the stadium, the voting was favorable to list F, Noronha Lopes. Okay, so it says the businessman won in the boxes of 3 and 10 votes each. They're now counting the 20 and 50 vote. So that is where Rui Costa is going to win. Those votes, most of those are going to go to him. Rui Costa wins, as we said, in Santo Tirso with the goleada. Look at this. Nearly doubling Noronha Lopes in Santo Tirso. Benfica continues to release results. At this moment, Rui Costa continues to open his lead. It says here in continental Portugal, list G continues to win in most of the sections. Here's the sections he's already won: Aveiro, Mirandela, Argenil, Lagos, Lolé, Quarteira, Guarda, Faz, Coa, Alcobaça, Elvas, Grândola, Setúbal, Chaves. Lá fora é bem diferente. Outside of Portugal, the scenario is different. In Europe, Rui Costa wins in Stuttgart. Outside of Europe, Rui Costa wins in Cidade Praia, Luanda, Montreal, Toronto, and Newark. João Noronha Lopes wins in Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. Berlin, Hamburg, Barcelona, Madrid, and Torcoing. João Diogo Montegas gets a win in Marseille tonight. In Marseille. In Viseu, Rui Costa is uncontestable 50.2% to 21.6% from João Noronha Lopes. In Luxembourg, Rui Costa 37.3%. João Noronha Lopes was behind him with 25.7%. In Terceira, Rui Costa wins almost an absolute majority in Terceira, 48.5%. So that's not on the club's website yet, but Rabala has that result already. Noronha Lopes, 23.5%. I think I read this already. In Moura, Rui Costa wins with an absolute majority. And I think we're up to the minute now in votes and in results. And I think I'm done for tonight, guys. I think I'm going to have to come back tomorrow. I don't know when tomorrow, but there will be news, and then I'll do a normal podcast maybe tomorrow night. I will be at the women's match tomorrow. I will be at Portugal versus United States, cheering on my Navegadores tomorrow. They just picked up a major historic win over the United States in the last friendly. Now they get to play them again. The odds of winning again are, so small. But I'll be there anyway. I'll be there right behind one of the goals in row 6, wearing my Navegadores jersey, ready to support. But I don't think there's much more to talk about tonight, guys. Rui Costa's on his way to a victory. It's probably not going to be tonight, but João Noronha Lopes needs to quickly align with the rest of the candidates. He needs to quickly have a meeting. I mean, they need to meet like tomorrow, him and João Diogo Montegas, him and Martin Maier, Christophe Carvalho. The 4 of them need to hash this out. If there's any chance at all of beating Rui Costa, I think it's a slim chance now at this point, because when you see the type of numbers Vieira got, those votes are all going to go to Rui Costa, and I think he's going to have a 55, 56, 57% vote in the runoff. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I liked. I don't know how this happened. I don't know where these votes came from. Clearly, I don't know the Benfica fan base as much as I thought I did. My father told me to be careful. He said, you don't know Benfiquistas that well. You only know the people who listen to your show and who talk to you. My old man is a wise one. He never been one to trust people. That's he has very little faith in other people. And he always taught me to, rely on myself. And I can see why. And yeah. I really thought I knew Benfiquistas. I thought I had a pulse on Benfica Nation. And I thought this was going to be close, but I didn't think that Rui Costa was going to have a night like this. Who knows? I may wake up in a couple hours and he might have 50%. I don't know. I hope not. But we're not going to know for several hours. So I think this is going to do it for tonight's coverage. Didn't go the way I want. Didn't get anyone on here. This is later than I wanted it to be, obviously. It's almost 1 a.m. here on the East Coast of the United States, so it's almost 5 a.m. in Portugal. People are going to start waking up and finding out that we still don't have an official number. And it's a new thing for Benfica to be having elections with 85,000 people, but we got to ask ourselves, is it better to have 85,000 people, or is it better to have 25,000 people who know what they're doing? A lot of people say that it's better to have 85,000 and that more participation is better. I think I I guess, like my old man, don't have the same confidence in people to make the right decision for themselves. Even though I do believe in people's rights to screw up for themselves. But that's when it affects yourself. When it affects all of us, uh, I don't know, guys. It's a damper end to what was a pretty crazy day for me. Driving, getting up early, driving to New Bedford. Not having any big funish. That should have been the omen I was looking at when she said there was nobody in the kitchen yet at this time. It was 10 in the morning. I wanted to be funna. The guys next to me were having Vindport, and I wanted to be funna. There was no be funna. I wanted a pastel nata. There was no prestige nata. I had my coffee with nothing. That should have, I guess, been an omen. No, I took Benfica's performance on the pitch as an omen instead. I took a 5-0 win to be an omen. Naive, I know, but you live, you learn. That's going to do it for election night. I have a feeling we're going to do this again in 2 weeks, but it's going to be a much different tone. I'm going to be coming in as a fighting underdog, probably. You all know where my vote is now. There's nothing to hold back. I don't think I influenced anyone's vote. I actually think you guys are all much smarter than that. So, yeah, I'll be here again. I mean, the podcast will go back to the regular format. We got matches to play between now and then, but 2 weeks from today, probably be sitting here in the same chair, same time, same place, waiting for a tally that hopefully doesn't come out this late, but it probably will. My God, if we have 85,000 people again in 2 weeks, I don't think we will. I think we'll have about 50,000 show up in 2 weeks. I think there's going to be some dejection from the supporters of the minority candidates. I think what looks like a foregone conclusion now, what looks like an inevitable conclusion is that Rui Costa is going to win on November the 8th. And I think that's going to keep people from going to the voting box. Hope I'm wrong. I hope people get inspired. I hope you go out and get somebody who's a sauce-you to go and vote for Noronha with you. If you want him to win, of course. If you don't, obviously, you're not going to do that. But, there's only so many sauce-you that can vote. Although, there's what happened was about half of the eligible sauce-you. So we have, almost 400,000 sauce-you, or we have over 400,000 sauce-you now until the remuneration comes out next year. Okay. In which that number will then be reduced because everyone who's not up to date will be removed. But, and everyone will get a new number. From what I understand, that's going to happen next year. 160,000 of the 400,000 plus sauce-use were up to date with their payments, were up to date with their obligations, and were eligible to vote today. About half of them voted. That means there's another half out there that can come in and that can swing this. So if you know somebody and you don't like this result and you don't like where this is going and you know somebody, you get them and you bring them with you 2 weeks from today. Big, big embrace to my friends in Australia. And I know I got a message today that it's impossible to vote. There's nothing near them. Depending where you are, I guess. There's just no chance to vote. And I don't think that's fair either. I said this. I know people love this voting in person. And clearly with this turnout, nobody thinks there's a problem. But there is a problem. There's Benfiquistas in places that cannot get to a location to vote. There needs to be some kind of accommodation made for people who are a certain distance from a voting booth if this is what we're going to do. It is not fair because that sauce-you in Australia, that sauce-you in New Zealand, that sauce-you in Timor, that sauce-you in South Africa, that sauce-you in Alaska. Who cares where he is? He or she. In Chile. Okay? They pay their dues and have the same right to vote that you or I do. And not allowing them due to distance is wrong. And Benfica needs to fix this in this next mandate. Whoever the president is, this needs a solution that works needs to be made. You need to find a way to do it. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you mail them a ballot and you make them certify it and send it back certified. Even if they have to pay something and pay more, Give them the opportunity to cast a vote. That's why I didn't complain about driving 90 minutes each way. Okay. Now, if I had to drive to Newark and it was 4.5 hours each way, I probably wouldn't be able to do it both days. Okay. It just is what it is. I mean, life is what it is. And it's sad that this is the situation that the club has put some of its most loyal supporters in. So I think my advocacy maybe goes down this road now. In addition to wanting and continuing to ask, where are the term limits that were promised in the last campaign by the current president, who looks like he's about to win again? Is he gonna set a term limit for himself, or is he gonna leave that for somebody else to do? Now that he's been president for 4 years, and now that he sees what kind of support he has from the people with the most votes, it's almost like he's untouchable at this point. It's almost like he's untouchable at this point. Am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm disappointed with the way this has worked out, but it's not over. And who knows? Maybe I'll wake up. Maybe Lisboa went in large number for Noronha tonight, and maybe that changes everything. I don't know, guys. But I can't keep my eyes open anymore. It is nearly 1 a.m. So again, thank you for everyone that has watched tonight and who watched earlier tonight. Thank you to everyone listening on the podcast feed, watching on YouTube after the fact. You're watching this and you already know what happened if you're watching on YouTube. But and if you're listening on the podcast as well, make sure you give me a follow. My handle is right there on your screen. I am at Michael Agostinho, at MikeAgostinho. Sorry about that. That's my handle. Follow me on Twitter. And I'm going to get out of here and go to sleep. Have a good night, everybody. Carrega Benfica, Força Benfica, Damo 39.